Horoscope comes from the word Horus, which is ascribed by ancient theology, is the hawk-headed god of Kemet, another name for ancient Egypt. Theology, a word whose root comes from theo and ology, is defined as the study of God. In ancient legend, the hawk-headed Horus possesses the all-seeing eye, which is also represented on the back of the US $1 bill. The scope of Horus is also directly related to Ethiopia and the famed Kingdom of Solomon, which translates to God's eye. Theo equals Theos. Opia equals eye. The ancients attributed God's eye to being the sun, which is also known as the temple or light of the body and mind. From Theo, the Greek word for God came Theos or Deus, the Latin or Roman name for God. In Latin, the masculine form is Theos and the feminine form is Divus. Here's where we see the correlation between the celestial bodies, the elements, and how they were transcribed within the personalities of deities, which are the plural forms of Theos, again, the Latin word for God. The astrological sign attributed to Deus, called Zeus, is Sagittarius, which is housed in the 12th month of the year. It is ruled by the largest planet in the solar system, Jupiter, and is represented by an animal that is half human, half horse, called a centaur. When we look at characteristics of Zeus or Jupiter, the deity ascribed to the astrological sign Sagittarius, we're constantly bombarded with images of a storm god. This imagery is further represented by the red eye of the planet, held by astronomers to be a huge storm happening on the planet's surface. Storms are also indicative of the atmosphere that surrounds the top of a mountain, as thunder and lightning are displayed from it to the people below. From here, we can see how these attributes of Deus or God came into play within the narratives of ancient indigenous cultures. These narratives are what we call today religions. The Old Testament bears witness to this fact, as Moses, the deliverer of the Jews, consults with Jehovah on the mountain. The animal of the mountain is the ram, which is pointed out by Aleister Crowley, is represented by the number 4 as seen in the Crowley Tarot. Through analyzation of biblical scripture, we understand the storm god to be a god of pestilence and jealousy. Exodus 34:14 points this out to us. This aspect plays out in the many forms of storms, from hail to snow, that jealously block out the rays and the presence of the sun, bringing clouds, clouded days, gloom and coldness to the people below. As we also mentioned earlier, the red-eye storm of Jupiter is also descriptive language that describes the red eyes of Deus, or when translated, the red eyes of God. A culture that worshiped the sun as the chief deity naturally would be rivaled by a culture that worshiped the thing that obstructs it. The atmosphere that makes up the clouds, the shade, rain, and thunder easily would be seen as the rival to the physical sun to a layman culture. This is due to the enormous power of thunder, the shade that gave that culture a rest from the blaring rays of the sun, as well as the rain that replenished their crops from drought caused by the sun. If anything could rival the god of the sun,